You are listening to the Primetime Podcast with your hosts, Bryant Shizzle and Jake Jorgensen. Hello, everybody. Welcome in to the Thanksgiving special with your host, me, and Jake is back, baby.
Back.
After
Let's
a hiatus, How does it feel to be back on the Rewind, Jake?
Feels pretty good. Luckily, we had some good fill-ins. Also, at Michael's wedding, I was talking to Brianna that she did a pretty good job filling in as co-host a couple weeks ago.
It's true.
Providing some true, real fantasy football insights. Good.
I'll make sure she knows you said that.
As prepared, but no, I'm looking forward to it.
That's funny. Well, I speak for everybody, Jake, when I say thank God you're back, because people can only listen to me talk for so long. At least that's what Bree tells me. Just kidding. Well, probably not, but she doesn't say it out loud.
The biggest thing to remember is we're dead.
So, we have, I guess, some housekeeping. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. It is the Wednesday before, so I hope all of you and your families have a wonderful Thanksgiving. There is minimal drama, and everything is smooth. If you're deep frying your turkeys, make sure it's thawed. So, I guess that's all I have to say about that. We'll talk a little bit about playoffs, I think, when we do the standings, since the playoffs are coming closer and closer. Brandon will like that one. I guess we can get into the matchups, Jake, and go from there. I'm sure there's plenty to talk about. We should probably stop dilly-dallying.
Let's do it.
Super. All right, biggest blowout of the week. Dude, why do we always start with your team, Jake?
That's what happens. That's what happens.
You just like getting it over with? Is that what you do?
Yeah, this year that's certainly been the case. Another ugly loss after going into this one. You know, if my team would have won, it would definitely have been playoffs are alive, and you know what? The season's over, so you can press a button at this point, in my opinion.
The biggest thing to remember is we're dead.
Dude, you're not even dead.
It was, I know, but I feel like it's over after this. Another 80-point scoring game. It was very fitting that Jameson had 0 points as my team.
Yeah, that is really the sailor send-off, isn't it?
It really was. And obviously, over the course of the season, the running backs just completely died.
Yeah.
There was a time where I felt solid about the running backs, believe it or not. I did trade Kyron, and then since then, everything bad happened. Now that was part of the Jamar Chase trade, so that's a different story. But at the same time, the Packers defense was the biggest thing to talk about on my team. Did one thing right, I guess, was picking Packers defense going against JJ McCarthy, having absolutely terrible game.
He's
probably
bad.
One of the worst quarterback games this season from any team. I think I saw the stat that they showed during the game of him being last in everything important for quarterback position this year.
Yep.
And he completely changed the narrative of Kevin O'Connell being able to work with any quarterback.
Yeah, now it's every quarterback except for JJ McCarthy.
Pretty much, yeah.
And you know what? I'm going to go out and say it because I'm sure Brandon's thinking it. I'm going to roast myself here. There was a period of time not too long ago when I was telling Brandon that I didn't think that Vikings fans regretted letting go of Sam Darnold. And JJ McCarthy was looking pretty good sometimes. And over the past few weeks, yeah, that's just fake news. He's really bad at football, dude.
It's really bad.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you're right, though. There were some moments.
There were
some JJ McCarthy moments, especially week 1 when they came back.
NFC Player of the Week.
By a couple scores. Yeah, was that week 1 or was that maybe that's different?
It was one of the first few weeks. It might have been week 1. If it wasn't week 1, it was week 2.
I think it was week 1 because It was just whoever's playing the Bears got the NFC Player of the
Oh,
Week in the
yeah.
first couple weeks of the
Yeah,
season.
that's
I'm pretty
true.
sure that was week 1. And
Yep.
that was after like the Bears looked really good in the first 3 quarters, and then JJ McCarthy
Yeah, won the game at the
looked
end.
like he
Oh yeah,
did. Yeah,
those were good days, weren't they? When the Bears
Yeah.
were losing. Yeah,
when they were losing and not winning, whatever it is, 7 of the last 8 or something like that.
freaking ridiculous,
Now
dude.
you can take a look at my bench and see that I should have started Caleb Williams. I felt really solid about the Jacoby pickup. Honestly, like the week before, he threw a million passes.
Yeah,
And he still had a fine game.
He was
Like, pick up a guy
alright.
off the waiver wire. He did fine. So if my team, the rest of the team would have performed, it would have been decent. But at the same time, Lane's team also did pretty good. So,
yeah,
like Wandale Robinson is the story of Lane's team. Amon-Ra. Now it would have looked even better if Amon-Ra was lined up right next to Jameson. Just in these team lineups next to each other, of course, with the 33 points to 0. But
yeah, can we
Yeah,
put
Wandale-
JMO in your wide receiver 1 slot, Jake?
yeah, we should be able to manually do that right now. But no, Wandale was incredible. The Giants were incredible. I didn't get to watch much of the game because it was during the Packer game. But yeah, we were talking about it before this episode that it was just very unfortunate for the Packers fans everywhere that the Lions came back in that one, and we'll see with another player in a different matchup. We'll see
Yeah.
how they came back in that game.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, there were some interesting matchups in the NFC North this past week. This, I think, was the first Packer game in a long time that I didn't have my blood pressure elevated.
Yeah.
It was probably the most
Definitely.
relaxing Packer game of the year, and unfortunately, the NFC North teams somehow came from behind and won. The other NFC North teams, I should say. But yeah,
And then the
Wandale
Chiefs
Robinson.
came back and won too.
Oh, okay.
Everything like happened all
Actually,
at the same time.
I will admit that
You okay with that?
I was cheering for that because I picked them in my pick'em pool, and I was one
Fair
of the few
enough.
that did. So I was actually very happy to hear that.
That's funny.
Honestly, and Wandale's game should be overshadowed by Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
For those who haven't seen it, I plead to you, you have to look up the play where Jameis Winston caught his touchdown. What a crazy play. Caught the pass, broke a tackle. Basically, I mean, if you're a DB and that happens to you, can you show up to film day?
No.
I don't think you can, dude. I think you just retire. Right? Or they cut you. I don't know. Like Jameis Winston, put your ass in the dirt and then, well, score a touchdown.
That's the first play in a long time I can remember that if someone's not locked into the game and they just watch, they might not realize that's a quarterback.
Yeah. He didn't look bad, man.
No, he looked fine.
He looked like a tight
I
end.
saw after the game, he was being interviewed. I don't know if you heard this. Maybe you have.
Yeah, I
but you
did.
probably know what I'm talking about. They were saying once Jackson Dart's back, like he was talking about how he'd be willing to play tight end for the Giants, and like somewhat joking probably, but honestly it's Jameis, so maybe not joking at all about that. Actually,
He's
he
dead
just wants to help the
serious.
team in any way possible, and he's got some good tape out there now for that. He's also got like a lot of plays where he's hustling to make blocks downfield in general because that's
Yeah, he cares,
his
dude.
personality, and
He's
he
a
cares
dog.
about the team. So that's one thing about the Giants this year. They're a lot more fun to watch somehow, even without Malik Neighbors.
And that's what I'm saying, man. All these teams have had Jameis as backups over the years, and they never play the guy when they're. I mean, all those teams suck ass, right? I mean, the Giants are bad with no Dart, no Scadaboo, no Neighbors. I mean, come on, you're gonna be bad. But if you want to lose games and sell tickets, you play Jameis Winston because dude is fun. It's watchable football, man. People like watching those games because Jameis. There's gonna be scoring. Smash the overs in those games. I bet you the over/under went up like 7 points when Jameis was announced the starter, maybe more.
Probably.
Because if Russ was there, dude, the Packer game, or sorry, not the Packer game, the Lions game against the Giants, and the Packer game against the Giants, like come on, those games are like, I don't know, 27-4. Yeah, 2 safeties.
Everyone realized that when they decided that Russell Wilson was going to be ahead of Jameis at the start of the season
Yeah.
on the depth chart. Like, it's not something that we didn't see coming.
It's disgusting.
It's yeah,
Yeah, keep
can't
Jameis
do
in there.
Jameis like that.
So, anywho, I guess a little off track, but it was important to talk about. Gosh darn it. Jordan Love had no fantasy points, didn't throw any touchdowns, so Did the Packers? Emmanuel Wilson had 2, and I think that was it. So I think the rest was field
Yeah, he
goals.
had like 100,
He had a
somewhere
great
between 100, 110 yards. Yeah, he had a good game.
He looked good too. Like it wasn't just a productive fantasy day. Dude was like breaking tackles, fighting for extra yards. He looked great, man. I think when Josh
He did.
Jacobs is back, I think he might be earning a little more time out on the field. Not anything crazy because Josh Jacobs is still a dog, but I think
Yeah,
Emmanuel Wilson earned some snaps.
they just announced that he's back
Yep.
today.
Yes, they did.
So,
Thank God, dude. I have him in Dynasty. I need him.
you hear they just announced back for the Lions?
Um,
Or no?
no.
Frank Ragnow, the dude that retired.
Oh, really?
He's coming back. Yeah, he's coming back, and he's not. I don't think he's going to be coming back tomorrow.
Oh my God.
That'd be insane. But it's either the next week or the week
That's
after.
actually huge for the Lions.
Yeah, that is huge.
If
And
he's
I'm
in
not
football shape.
entirely like I'm surprised, but at the same time, like this makes sense when you look at it that he retired, and then they convince. I feel like that's happening a lot more in the last
Yeah.
couple of years.
Well,
Team just convincing the guy.
Especially because he retired at the top of his game, right? So you expect that he's still going to be competent. Assuming he's in shape, you would expect that he's going to be good.
Yeah, he retired like right after the draft, and that was the big thing. Was like organization or the fans were thinking that's terrible that he retired right after the draft. So like, I'm sure all of the coaching staff and everybody, the GM, knew that he was going to retire.
Oh yeah.
So it's not like they couldn't have drafted his replacement or something like that, planned for that. But at the same time, that's huge for the Lions this year.
Wow. Yeah.
Luckily, we don't have to play against them this week, but yeah, that's a big pickup. And people were talking about how it's like that would be insane if you could just announce that people that were injured or retired are coming back like the day of. Yeah, like you're playing the Rams and then there's Aaron Donald's back. Boom. Good luck.
I've heard memes about that. You better be careful.
Yeah. Yeah, you might as well give the Rams a Super Bowl for the Barney Trophy if Aaron Donald's coming back too. That's a team.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Jake, I think we've successfully not talked about this matchup, which I think was your plan.
I've done a really good job of that this year. I don't know if any of the listeners, I've done a tremendous job this year not talking about my team.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we can probably just move on. I don't think we need to talk about Jake Jorgensen's fantasy football teams anymore. Next one is Cade versus Nick, surprisingly. Shout out for those who got this game right, aka myself. I'll look to see. I have to add in the fab still. You know what? We can do that right now. It was me and Cade. End of list. Wow. Nobody believed in Cade. There we go. I have 59 fab now, and Cade has 52 fab. Huge for the boys. All right. Yeah, this was kind of a blowout. I didn't expect it to be. I guess that happens when Josh Allen doesn't have any touchdowns, throws 2 picks, gets sacked 8 times, and they lose to Houston. Houston's defense is terrifying. If you have anybody going up against Houston, oh man, they better be a stud. And even if they are, like Josh Allen, that can happen. So thankfully, George Pickens and Christian McCaffrey pulled their weight, but that was kind of it as far as Nick's team goes. Kittle was fine. Javonte was okay. Other than that, I mean, Igbuka's kind of been disappointing lately. I think, did Baker go? I know he went down this week. Did he miss time at all earlier this year? I feel like something happened earlier this season. Crap, I can't remember.
It's a good question.
Anyways, ever since week 6 or week 5 or whatever you want to say, Emeka Egbuka has had 1 game with double digits. So I guess he stopped scoring touchdowns, which was a lot of what he was doing in the beginning of the year. So if I'm Nick, I'm trying to sit him down, and having Ladd McConkey there makes that a lot easier. But he is a little hungry for wide receiver depth. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Egbuka's going to have big weeks because of how he plays. But especially if Baker misses, I would be sitting him down. Other than that, I hear Bucky Irving's going to be back this week, finally. That's what they're saying, at least. So that'll be big for Nick. I don't know if you just throw him in right away. For DeAndre Swift, I guess you probably do. He's been kind of disappointing lately.
Yeah, for Swift for sure.
Kind of funny how good the Bears' offense has been, and all of a sudden Swift isn't that good, and your boy Rome has been pretty disappointing too. So I guess it's, I don't know, Loveland's been pretty good, I guess. I don't really know
I look
who
at
else is getting
Nick's
the ball.
team.
Yeah.
I picked Nick's team, and obviously you just look at like the obvious thing of JSN versus Josh Allen. That's like a
Yeah.
40-point swing
Yep.
right there. So that's kind of it's obviously what decided the matchup. But I do look at his team and I think about like, a lot of us should have tried to trade for George Pickens.
Yeah,
'Cause
dude.
Nick's probably not going to keep him, but he's
Oh,
very
God.
keepable now.
He's so
Very
keepable. It depends on what happens in the offseason. He's not under contract, right?
Oh, I'm not 100%
I'm not sure if
confident
he
in the
is.
George Pickens contract.
If he's under
updates at the
contract,
moment.
he is not under contract for long because I know they're talking about contract negotiations with Dallas, and people online have been talking about how I think Des Bryant tweeted something where he's like, "Hey, Dallas is going to offer you less money, but you should take it. 'Cause it's about the glory, not the money," or something like that. Just trying to get him to stay.
I wasn't really thinking about the contract situation, but this does, to me, instantly feel like someone that Jerry's going to keep around.
I think
It's a wide
Jerry
receiver.
would
He's
love him too.
Notoriously.
But I don't know if they're going to be able to pay him what George is going to want. I think it's best for him if he stays in Dallas. There are very few teams that he can go to and just plug and play and be as fantasy relevant as he is with Dallas. But he'll get paid more somewhere else, I think, which could matter.
His whole thing was the more diva receiver and more so than a normal receiver.
Yep.
But we haven't heard that too much from Dallas.
Yeah, not
actually,
as much.
I heard some PR of like that not being his thing anymore. That's kind of how that goes when you're in a team.
It's a Pittsburgh effect,
yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, this is his last year under contract. He's a UFA next year.
Okay, so yeah, you get a little time to monitor that. Luckily, you don't need to sign on keepers right away. But
right,
I mean, I did. Yeah, I'm just looking at Nick's team.
Yeah, if Dallas signs him, you almost have to keep the guy, dude. 5th-round pick, and he's producing like a wide receiver 1.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really expect 32 points every week. You expect CD to eat at that. I think it'll be a lot more of a T. Higgins, Jamar Chase situation, where if one of them goes down, the other will be awesome, and if not, you're going to have really good weeks and then some okay weeks.
Yeah, that's true. At this point, though, I feel so much better about Pickens than T. Higgins. Well, I guess he's injured right now, so that's pretty fair. But
honestly, I feel better about George Pickens right now than CD Lamb.
That's how,
yeah, I mean, if dirty you say that, but if you're Nick next week and you have both those guys, I mean, who are you playing, man? I mean, you're probably both, but if you only could play one, it's probably George Pickens.
Yeah.
Put your mask on.
I will say the whole thing about Dallas has been that their defense sucks, so they just keep passing the ball. And Dak's been incredible, but their defense has gotten better.
Mm-hmm.
Pickens is still putting up points.
He is.
I don't know. This is a very small sample size, and Philly has pretty bad DBs this year.
He looks good out there,
cornerbacks,
man.
but
he
does look really good.
He's catching balls, yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm Nick, I guess you don't need to feel like this was the worst. It's terrible, but
yeah, this is the worst. Jake, shut up.
Yeah, but you know that Josh Allen's not going to do this in the playoffs for you.
It's good to get it out of the way now.
You get nervous about Ibuka. Very nervous about Ibuka.
Yeah, but when you have Ladd McConkey on the bench, who has been absolutely electric the second half of this year, you probably don't worry too much. I don't know.
Yeah.
That wide receiver 2 spot is definitely his weakest spot in his team once Bucky's back. But we'll see. I don't know. Anybody can beat anybody in a single week, baby. This was a huge win for Cade, though. I guess we'll go over more about that later. But, yeah, passing Preston in the standings. This was phenomenal from Cade because this gives him a real opportunity to be the 1 seed if he can win out and Nick drops another game. So, Jason, Jalen Hurts, and Derrick Henry basically carried the entire team. I look at Cade's team, and I don't see where 154 points comes from. It's just
I wonder,
JSN.
yeah. I wonder if he wasn't playing against Nick, if Cade would have started Emmanuel Wilson, but he felt like you need that upside of T. Higgins randomly, like in this
Maybe.
matchup.
Yeah, his big blow up
Because
game.
I think I probably would have started Emmanuel Wilson over T. Higgins at this point. And this is also
I
before this is
yeah,
before Burrow's back.
I don't know. I
So
was a little worried personally about Emmanuel Wilson just because Minnesota's defense is not the easiest defense, and Josh Jacobs has been living off touchdowns. I wasn't sure if Emmanuel was going to be getting in the end zone or if it was going to be Chris Brooks. I
that
had the
is true.
situation where I had him or Javante, and I played Javante in a league, and I was disappointed. But I won anyway, so it didn't matter. But yeah, that was a mistake. I feel like I'd play T. Higgins over both those guys, probably. With no Jamar Chase, you just have to play T. Higgins.
That's the most fair argument right there. That's a good point. I was thinking about
Yeah.
Jamar Chase.
Yeah, if Jamar Chase was
I
playing,
haven't
yeah.
even thought about Jamar Chase because he's in my
Yeah,
bench.
your wide
That's
receiver,
I
Jake.
literally forgot about Jamar Chase for a second there. Damn.
That's okay. All right, I think we carry on here. It's a huge win for Cade.
Yeah.
Next up is Lemons and Manti. Speaking of huge wins, by the way, this is just as big. Not only
Yes.
does Manti losing affect Nick and Cade directly, but Lemons winning this game puts him at 6-6. He's in the playoffs if the season ended today. I mean, this puts him in a fantastic spot. Yeah, huge win for Lemons. Dak Prescott going against Philly, who, dude, after the first half, it was like, what, 21-0? Philly was up, and you're like, dude, I need Dak Prescott to get like 16 points and I'll survive, right? And then all of a sudden, Dallas just takes over and scores 24 unanswered. Dak throws 2 touchdowns, runs 1 in. Rashee Rice pops off. James Cook, Ashton Genty. Oh my God, Ashton Genty against the Browns too. Like, what? How are we putting up 25 points against the Browns, getting 17 carries when he got 6 carries against freaking Dallas last week? What's going on, man? And ever since the Raiders, was the OC got fired or play caller changed? I don't remember what. Something shook up in Vegas. I don't remember what it was. But ever since that change, 8 targets in 2 weeks. That's fantasy gold right there. If you're telling me that Ashton Genty can get targets like a wide receiver and 15 plus touches, sign that guy up for fantasy gold next year, dude. Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's if that stays or even close to that stays, wow. Yeah, he could pretty easily be the running back 1 next year. Other than that, I mean, Darius Slayton was disappointing. Oh God, I didn't see JJ McCarthy's points. Minus 5.52. That's down there, that's down there for one of the lower ones I've seen. I know I've seen lower. I can't remember who it was, but I know I've seen lower. But yeah, that's down there.
Peterman's got to be I don't think Peterman's ever been rostered though. I'm trying to
Yeah,
think of who
that's true.
you wouldn't have
Roster
seen
players.
that.
So the thing is, in this league, it's a lot easier to go negative because sacks are -1, and I don't know if that's really a standard thing in all websites. So it is
I
a
don't think
little
it
easier.
is.
I know I'm in a lot of leagues that you don't lose points for sacks. I think ESPN. I don't lose points for sacks in any of my ESPN leagues. I don't know if that's standard or not. I think it's a Yahoo standard. Either that or we made it a thing in like 6th grade and never changed it. Therefore, it's just standard in my brain. But yeah, minus 5.52. Wow, that's bad. 87 pass yards. I wonder what his composite pass yards were. Like, if you include the yards he lost from sacks, it's got to be like sub 50, right?
Well, he told Levens that he was going to have like 6 points less than Josh Allen. Hey, maybe he throws him in the starting lineup.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. If you told me that J.J. McCarthy had 6 fewer points than Josh Allen before the week started, you're definitely throwing him in there. And you're probably picking Minnesota to cover or win.
Yeah.
Oh, Josh Allen. Wow. Judkins on the bench is highly questionable. I don't know what you're doing, Lemons. Why aren't you playing him?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense to me.
I know he had a bad week last week against Baltimore, but dude, I mean, Judkins has been awesome. And he's played the Raiders. It's not like he was playing the Texans. Yeah, I mean, Darius Slayton doesn't need to be in your lineup. Dude isn't really that
He
good.
might have been. This might have been him going into this matchup thinking that this is a swan song of the season or something.
Yeah, this could have been like
It's
a
possible.
potential.
Like,
See, but if you're trying to tank, like you put
he's
TJ
not. No, he's not
Hawkinson in,
trying to
right?
tank. Yeah.
I think this is just a whiff.
Well, I'm looking down at the bench and I'm seeing he's
Doesn't
got a couple empty spots right now. No,
He
his
does.
IR is full and he's
Yeah,
going to move those guys to the bench. But I was looking at that like,
I agree.
all right, we got to get time to buckle up, get ready for this playoff push, Lemons.
It's
You
been
might
like
see
that for a
Preston again in a
while.
couple weeks.
Yeah, his benches look like that for a while. Ever since Burrow and McLaurin went in there, I don't think he ever replaced those two. But Burrow's back. Not that you're playing him, but you can cut JJ McCarthy. Manthai's side of the ball. This is what happens when JT has a bad game and Josh Jacobs is hurt.
Yeah.
Manthai's team actually just runs on Jonathan Taylor. If Jonathan Taylor isn't having monster weeks, Manthai's losing games. He's on a 2-game losing streak. Last week JT was on bye. This week he scored less than 10 points. Josh Jacobs on the bench didn't do much. Justin Jefferson continues to not be that great with JJ McCarthy. Hey, good thing for Justin Jefferson. JJ McCarthy's not going to play this week, they said. It's that third string rookie. I can't remember what his name is. I think so. It's the B. I want to say Tyson Badgett, but that's obviously not right. Brosmer? Is it Brosmer? Jake Brosmer? Ooh, I feel like Brosmer is right.
I'm drawing a blank.
Let me look. Max Brosmer. It's got to be this guy. Yep, Minnesota quarterback. Yeah, so this guy is going to be rostered by Big Old Tets. Nice. Let's get a good look at that. I can't. Web browser's struggling. All right, we'll get a look at that later. Brandon was loving that.
Yeah, he was.
I was loving that too. Not gonna lie. LA Rams defense dropped a 20 bomb and you still lost. Dude, when your defense is putting up 20 points and you're not breaking like 130, 140, you know your team struggled a bit. Had to start Dallas Goedert because Tucker Kraft's out. I guess Goddard's just his guy now. That's kind of scary. He's not that good. I'd say you could get Hunter Henry from George, but deadline's gone.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be considering one of these. Oh, Harold Fannin. I'd probably pick him up. Wow, that is just Dallas Goedert. Brenton Strange maybe had 14 points last week. 93 yards, and maybe. I don't know. Manthai is human. All of the top 3 seeds, I think, were proven to be human this week. And that's very, very good to see for the low playoff team seeds like myself. That feels good.
Yeah.
To see some of those teams faltering a little bit. Manthai couldn't have done much different on his team. I think he was losing this one pretty much no matter what. So, Lemons, dude, you got to start playing Judkins. Your running back room is one of the best in the league. Genty, James Cook, and Judkins is awesome. Play them. Especially with Rashee Rice and DK Metcalf. I mean, DK Metcalf's been struggling. He got a touchdown last week, but I think he got hurt, and then I think he might have come back. But, yeah, he's probably the weakest link on Michael's team. So
I will fault him slightly less for throwing a Jameis receiver out there and just hoping it works. I will
That's
say
fair.
that, but
That's fair.
I did kind of take the L on that last year when I was starting Jameis and then 2 Browns receivers, and that worked like once maybe,
Yeah.
and then it didn't work a couple of times. But yeah, just unfortunate that he didn't have Wan'Dale Robinson who took all the points,
And don't forget Jameis taking all the
and
receiving
Jameis
yards.
himself
Yeah.
taking his receiving yards too.
That's funny. All right. Next matchup is George and Greg. This one was probably the least impactful matchup of the week. George's team is cooked, and Greg got a much-needed win. You know, it was a close game. George's team put up some points. No thanks to CD, realistically. But Kenneth Gainwell had another really good week. Hunter Henry, top tight end of the week. George's running backs let him down in a big way. And honestly, Drake May did a little bit too. That's 2 weeks in a row for Drake May where he hasn't really been that great. He's lacking in the touchdown department right now. But Travion Henderson must be stealing them all, you know. Shadur on the bench. I can't believe George picked up Shadur. I would be starting Matt Stafford. Dude's been electric like all year.
Should be, yeah.
I mean, he's basically
He's
getting
had-
running back touchdowns with freaking Devontae Adams.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
The 1 yard touchdowns.
Yeah.
King.
You see Devontae's stat. Was that this week or last week? 1 catch, 1 yard, 1 touchdown.
I can't remember which week that was, but yeah, I saw it. Like I saw that. I don't. Oh man, I
That's
wish I
the Mike
remembered the
Evans
exact
line.
stat, but it was. Did you see the one? Yeah, that is. Did you see the one that was talking about a bunch of receivers and they were all just like former receivers of Aaron Rodgers? I forgot who they were, but
No, I didn't see
it was
that.
like the top 3 were. I can't remember if it was a specific time frame, like the last 10 years or something. But it was Devontae and then 2 other Packer receivers as the top of the list for most 1 yard
sweet.
touchdowns, and it's like that seems pretty accurate that
Yeah.
Rodgers is going to want those touchdowns at the 1 yard line more than any other
Oh,
quarterback.
Yeah, he's a big 1 yard touchdown guy. He likes that fadeaway throw in the corner of the end zone. It doesn't really work that
He
much,
does.
but Rodgers and Devontae perfected it, and obviously Devontae taught Stafford how to do it. Or maybe Stafford already knew from his days with Megatron and the fact the Lions could never run the football. But yeah, huge. Huge for Greg. Jahmyr Gibbs, honestly, so here's the thing. Greg's team was honestly kind of bad. Jahmyr Gibbs and Travis Etienne combined for more fantasy points than your entire team, Jake.
Just brutal.
Yeah, and Jahmyr Gibbs did most of that. I think this is the most dominant running back fantasy football performance that I've ever seen in my lifetime. I don't think I've ever seen 64.4 out of a running back. I don't know if I've seen it for anybody, but definitely not a running back in my eyes. There have been some big ones. I'm sure LaDainian Tomlinson got close to this, but yeah, but wow. 290. I think he had like 260 yards from scrimmage. Yeah, 45 receiving yards. Yeah, 264 yards from scrimmage. He had 3 touchdowns. He had 11 catches. I mean,
64 points with only 3 touchdowns.
PPR machine, dude. Yeah, 18 points
Yeah.
from touchdowns, and he still had 64. I mean, 11 catches, man. You get your 5 bonus points for breaking 200 rushing yards. Awesome. Yeah, that's crazy. And
And then they've got Rig now coming back out of retirement to help out the offensive line a little more.
yeah, he won him that game, dude, in overtime. He got that touchdown. I was kind of pissed, but also I'm not gonna lie. I looked at the game, and the Lions were wearing. I kind of hate those jerseys that they wear, the like black ones with the Honolulu blue, because it looks just like the
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers. And I saw that, and I was like, "Is that Rico
Christian
Dowdle?"
McCaffrey.
I got so excited. No, I thought it was Rico Dowdle. I was so excited, and then I was like, "Well, shit, they're not playing right now." Oh fuck, that's Jahmyr Gibbs. Now the Lions are gonna win, and Jahmyr Gibbs scored a big long touchdown. Yeah, I
I thought you
wasn't
were going to
super
say it
happy.
reminded you of prime Christian McCaffrey at the time.
Honestly, though,
Pretty
yeah,
much.
I don't even think
Better,
McCaffrey
even
put up
better.
65 fucking points. I mean, I
Yeah.
know our league benefits those long plays a little more. You know, we've got like 2 points for 40-plus yard touchdowns. So most leagues probably didn't have 64, but I think he got very close to, if not exceeding 60 in a lot of full PPR leagues, which is insane. So congrats to Jahmyr Gibbs, I guess, for blowing my mind. Etienne, good game. Bowers, Tracy, yeah. Tracy's been I was going to say stellar and solid, and I mix them together. He's been very good ever since Scadaboo came out. Keep firing him up, even against good defenses. I mean, Green Bay and Detroit defenses are both pretty stout. So I don't have any worries about playing him against New England. I guess that'll do her. Oh, Baker's out, so I guess we'll be playing Danny Dimes next week. Interesting. All right, we got one more matchup, Jake, if you'll allow me to move on.
I'll allow it.
Huge. Big old Tets and myself went at it. Nice. Here we go. Here's Tedero McMillan at his finest. You know, Bree asked me how he got this picture, and I didn't know. I don't think I want to know. 50 Shades of Trey, though. It just squeaked this win by. Like, so I'll put the people through my emotions for the evening. I didn't think I really stood a chance. I had Rico Dowdle. I was up, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 points tops against Brandon going into Monday night. He had Brock Purdy, he had Tet McMillan, and he had Juwan Jennings, right? I thought I was cooked. So, Brock Purdy right away throws a touchdown to Juwan Jennings. I'm like, oh, well, I'm dead. I texted you and Brandon.
Yep.
And I said, congrats, basically. I'm cooked. And I wasn't watching the game at the time. I had just turned it on, saw the touchdown, and I'm like, all right, whatever, I'm going to do some other stuff. And then I checked in around halftime, and I saw Brock Purdy had, I think, 2 interceptions at the time. Juwan Jennings, I don't think had caught a pass since, and Tet was pretty disappointing. So I was like, wow, shoot. Yahoo's like projecting me to basically tie with Brandon right now. Rico Dowdle had a few points. I'm like, all right, maybe I'll watch the game for a little bit. So I'm watching the game. Brock Purdy had another pick at some point. And then eventually Tet caught a touchdown. I think that was late third quarter, I want to say. So I'm like, all right, screw it. I turned the game off, took a shower, went to bed. I'm laying down in bed, and I get a message from Brandon, and he's like all pissed off. He's like, I'd be a lot more upset if this mattered. So I was like, what are you talking about? Because I wasn't watching the game. And so I pulled up the game, and I beat Brandon by like a point. And I was like, what? I still to this day don't really know what happened. But apparently Rico Dowdle caught like 2 garbage time catches at the very end, picked up some PPR points, and squeaked the dub. I don't think Tet caught another pass ever since that touchdown. He only had 2 catches all game. Brock Purdy, stinky. And Juwan Jennings had caught a few passes before Tet scored, which is why I just assumed I was dead. I wasn't looking at the fantasy matchup. I just assumed I was down like 15 points. And so I watched the Panthers' next drive, and I was like, okay, Rico Dowdle has to bust like a 50-yard touchdown here. And then Bryce Young threw a pick, and that's when I turned it on. Yeah, Bryce Young threw that interception, and I'm like, all right, the game was over. There was only like 6 minutes left in the game. I didn't even know if they were going to get the ball back, let alone Rico Dowdle scoring, apparently only like 4 or 5 more points is all I needed, but I thought I needed a lot more after the touchdown. And yeah, so that got the dub. Long story short, everybody else, AJ Brown, thanks George, shout out. It was a little scary for a couple weeks, but I think we're going to make it through. The squeaky wheel strikes again. So I will say Michael Wilson, I traded to Brandon as a throw-in piece because I was going to cut him. That was a fucking mistake. He almost killed me. Like, dude's been a machine for 2 weeks now since Marvin Harrison's out. I assumed that Marvin Harrison was just going to play this week, so I didn't really worry about it. That's why I was going to cut him. And yeah, when I got Lamar, Brandon sent a Lamar bomb to my team. Dude had 5 points. He's playing Cincy this week, so I need him to have a good week. I need it. But hopefully Lamar can bounce back because he sends a Lamar bomb onto my team, which, I mean, I didn't have a quarterback on my roster playing, so I would have had to scoop somebody. But, yeah, not good. Wouldn't have been J.J. McCarthy, though, so it couldn't have been that bad.
True.
Other than that, I guess DJ Moore's having some good fantasy games, Jake. Unfortunately for your Roma Dunze. I was wondering how he was doing. 2 touchdowns.
Very unfortunately, and because like the games that I have watched from the Bears, he's looked awful.
I know, me too.
I thought I kind of assumed that they just weren't caring about him anymore, and I didn't realize that he's putting up 20-point fantasy games now.
Right.
That makes me feel even worse now trading for Dunze. But you know what? I think actually I think his contract might be up. I'm not sure about that. I should know.
DJ? No, they just extended him like last year.
They just extended him?
Yeah, they spent a bunch of money on him. I can look up his contract.
Trade DJ Moore.
Yeah, they paid him a bunch of money because I remember at the beginning of the year he was not playing very well, and everybody's like, "What are they gonna do?" because I think they had just extended him. I don't know if it was this past offseason. Yeah, he has. Oh yeah, he has 2 more years on his contract before they can even like think about cutting him. He signed a 4-year, $110 million contract in 2024. It was an extension in 2024, so I think it started this year officially. But yeah, it was a 5-year extension. No, 4-year extension. It looks like.
I mean, I get
With a void
that you got a young quarterback and you want to just like lock down a wide receiver that's been good in his career so far. And
Yeah.
at that point, they also had Keenan Allen on the roster. They're like, let's just make sure we have DJ Moore for a while and then see what happens in the draft. But I think if they knew right now, they probably wouldn't have extended him at this very moment anymore.
I agree.
That's just how it works in the NFL.
His dead cap has got to be ridiculous.
Oh, but I did see Michael Wilson in that trade that you guys had, and then I saw his projection going into this week. And I also like, I didn't realize that was a guy that was going to be having that type of projection already for the Cardinals. And he did pop off.
You know, Jacoby Brissett's making him look like a stud, which makes you wonder about Marv.
Yeah.
Trying to look up his cap hit, and I just can't. So, I know what his cap hit is, but his dead cap has to be like almost $100 million if they cut him this year. So yeah, probably not going to happen, Jake. Unfortunately for you.
Brutal.
You could try to trade him, but you're probably not going to get much for him. You're probably just hanging on to him for another year at least. Alrighty. Yeah. Well, we can head to the standings. Spent long enough on the matchups. So starting for the top, I guess I should make the announcement. We have 2 regular season weeks remaining. We have week 13 this week, and then we have week 14 next week. So we've got the Thanksgiving week, and then we've got one more week, and that's it for the regular season, all right? That being said, the 1 seed is still wide open for 3 teams. Manti now finds himself in the back seat after losing this week, and Cade jumped him to hop into second after beating Nick. So Cade will almost certainly lose the tiebreaker if it comes to that against any of those teams. But as long as he can stay above Manti, he'll be getting that first round bye. Nick, you would expect to get that first round bye. He would have to lose out, and Manti would have to win out, and Cade needs 1, right? So it's pretty unlikely for Nick to not get the first round bye. The other 2.
Well, I know Preston and Nick play the last week of the season, so that's one way where if Cade wins this next week, it gets to 10 wins.
Yeah.
Preston wins this next week, it's to 9 wins. Nick could go to the 3 seed if he lost to Preston.
Right.
So that's where it's like
that's gonna be a huge week.
That's a huge match. That's why Cade's win against Nick was huge, because he's the only one that doesn't have a chance really at points for on the tiebreaker. So that's why, like, Preston losing and then Cade winning.
And Cade plays
like
Lane.
This set up the
week
perfect
14.
top 3 like push for the top 2 seeds.
Lane could very easily week 14 be dead and not really care. And Cade also plays George. Yeah, I mean, he's got 2 of the easier matchups you can get. You would expect Cade to win out from here.
Mm-hmm.
That puts Cade in a pretty good spot. That's huge for him. So we'll see how that shakes out. There's going to be a lot of eyes on that. That's for sure. I am alone at 7-5 after my easy win against Brandon. Yeah, that was huge for me, because if I would have lost, I'd be sitting at 6-6. I would be in 6th place, just barely squeaking in. So massive. That should put me in the playoffs. I would have to fumble the bag immensely.
All right, who would you? So it looks like if you get the 4 seed,
yeah. So I'm probably gonna lose this week.
If you get the 4 seed, who call your shot? You wanted to play a 5 seed of Greg or Lemons right now?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I'd rather play against Greg, and it's not that close. Yeah, I would definitely rather play against Greg. I don't think Greg's team is as good as Lemons is right now. So hopefully I play against you.
See, I know you said that. Okay, my team's not dead technically,
Yep.
but to have a chance, like I've got to win the next
You've
two.
got a good chance, man. Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. You do
I have to win the
your
next two
Yeah,
because the
you do.
tiebreaker I'm nowhere near. And then as you look at the points for, yeah, my team, it kind of shows that I was surprised that this was a team that was starting off the season pretty hot.
You and Lane have pretty similar chances of making the playoffs. Lane
Don't
is
like
still
to hear
alive.
that.
Lane needs to win too, but if he does win two, there's a pretty solid chance that he outscores Greg or Lemons, assuming they both or one of them loses out. Because for Lane to have a chance, he has to win two, and one of those two teams has to lose out. And if that happens, you would expect that Lane could probably end up outscoring them because he's pretty close. More likely to outscore Lemons for sure, because he's only like 50 points out, but still could pretty easily outscore Greg if Lane has a big week or two or Greg has a couple duds. So Lane is certainly not out, although it is unlikely. I'd put his odds at like 15%.
I just looked at the schedule while you're talking because I wanted to see who I was playing, who Lane was playing, those type of matchups.
Yeah.
See how it
Lane's
decides.
got Greg and you've got Greg.
I've got Lemons and Greg as my last two games.
Yeah, that's
so. So I mean, I guess if you're saying this chance,
Lane needs to beat Cade in the final week, assuming he wins this week. Yeah. See, you can win out, Jake.
I guess it's better that way than seeing that I play, Nick or Preston, and then Lemons and Greg play, one of the lower teams too. Mm-hmm. So at the same time, am I like, oh shit, Greg's matchup is easy. He gets to play me, whatever. Like do that too. But
yeah, I mean,
no,
neither of you are
right. I'm not
super
dead
good
technically.
teams. Yeah, you're there, Jake. You exist.
Do I want to play against Cade, Nick, or Preston's team? Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. Let's go and run. Let's go and run. Let's get hot. Let's start the worst running backs. Actually, I think that's very. I'd like if my team doesn't have the worst starting running backs of a playoff team of all time in this league. I'd like to see who that would be.
Yeah, who's worse?
Because I've actively traded away my running backs until they're running back 2 on their team.
Dude, Bill Crosby's a dog.
Yeah, I suppose. He has moved out of my starting rotation.
Understandable.
For
sure. Which is tough when you're talking about your lineup.
Yes, somehow he has done that.
That means he's out of everybody's rotation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're very interesting. There are only 2 teams mathematically dead.
The biggest thing to remember is we're dead.
Brandon and George at 3-9 are mathematically eliminated. I'm kind of surprised Yahoo doesn't put a little mark next to them, like a Z or something, saying like they're dead, like they do for when you clinch a playoff spot. But they are dead. We'll talk about it in the transactions. Brandon was making some moves to ensure that he remains dead. Good luck to you. Everybody else is technically still in it, and really because of how top heavy the league is. Not only are you and Lane still mathematically in it, but you've got a legit shot, man. It's not like you have like a 1% chance. I mean, all you need is for Greg and or Lemons to lose, and you play Lemons, and Lemons week. Okay, Lemons will beat Brandon. Sorry to say it. So we need Greg to lose out, and if Greg loses out, he plays you, and he plays Lane. Both teams that need to beat him. So that's big. Greg's in some liver not live, I'll say, matchups here. Huge. All right, let's continue. Players of the week. Run through these quick. Jameis Winston, 38.24 fantasy points as a free agent. Good to see him back in here, Jake. It's been a long time since Jameis has been the top player of the week. It might have been pre-rewind recordings, actually. I don't think I've ever put him as the QB1 before in this doc.
Yeah, I don't think it would have happened.
Yeah.
The last 2
It would have been probably when I was doing those like written notes.
Oh yeah.
So back in college.
Kind of sad that nobody rostered him, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, what'd you expect? It's not like, well, you know what? Josh Allen, he could.
Yeah.
Jahmyr Gibbs, 64.4 for Greg's team. Disgusting. We talked about that already. JSN for wide receivers, 43.1 for Cade. If you take out JSN's score, Jahmyr Gibbs might exceed everybody else added together. Oh, not quite, but it's close. Hunter Henry, 27.5 for George. Andy, I might butcher this, but Borregales, 18 fantasy points on the waiver wire. Kicker, I think he's for New England. I don't know. I don't know anything about that guy. Was he filling in for somebody, or has he been their
Is he a
kicker all
very
year?
large kicker? Is he a very large kicker?
Like fat?
Like a fat kicker.
He doesn't
Am I
look fat in
thinking
his
of the right
picture,
guy?
but maybe. I don't know. He's been kicking all
If
year,
he
though.
is the guy I was thinking of, he reminded me of the dude from the Badgers from a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, Gaglione or whatever his name is. Yeah.
If that's what I'm thinking of, I don't remember who it was, but one of the games that I saw in passing on Sunday, there was a big kicker that I swear it was that dude because the
he
name
is a little
sounded familiar.
thicker. Yeah.
He wasn't as big as the Badger. I don't think he was as big as the Badger
No,
kicker,
that guy
but it
was
did
big.
kind of give me the vibes
Yeah.
of like this is fun to watch.
Yeah, he's got a little girth to him. I don't know how fat he's bigger than most kickers, I would say. Looking up Gaglione. Yeah, he was a beefcake. Oh, homie was a unit. It was fun watching him kick. Dude looks like he's about to go to Chicago and take down some of those Italian beef sandwiches.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough racial profiling for the day. Rams defense, forgot to mention for Preston, 20.5. Good stuff from them. Transactions, let's fly through these quick. There were quite a few. Let's see. Couple drops for guys on IR. Houston's defense got picked up by Greg for 16 doll hairs, going up against the Colts and the Chiefs over the next 2 weeks, which are not easy matchups. However, did just shut out the Bills basically. Not score wise, but they had 16 points, dude. I mean, 2 picks, fumble recovery, 8 sacks. Yeah, if you can do that against the Bills, you can probably do it against any team. They are on the road for these next 2 matchups. We will see how it goes, but the Houston defense is, in my opinion, the best in the league. I don't blame you for wanting them on your roster. Greg also picked up the Tampa defense for $12. I wonder if that was a mistake and he put in multiple bids hoping he'd get a defense. Or maybe he's planning on playing Tampa Bay over the next 2 weeks. They have the Cardinals and Saints, and then switching to the Texans for the fantasy playoffs if he gets there, where they have the Cardinals and the Raiders. That's a good idea.
That sounds right.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. It's worth 28 fab, in my opinion, if you can get that to work. You got to make it to the playoffs, though, Greg. I got the Denver defense for 7 fab. Felt like a value. They got Washington and Vegas over the next 2 weeks. We'll see. I've heard Jaden Daniels is going to be back. Is that this week or the next week? Do you know what they're talking about?
Let me just.
I'm not sure. I heard he was going to be back soon. I don't know if that's this week or if they were going to hold off another week yet.
Unlikely to play Sunday.
Unlikely?
I'm seeing. Limited practice. Unlikely to play.
I thought that was what I heard, was next week was the target for him. So that should be good for me then. Davis Mills got scooped up by Brandon. Yeah, so Brandon cut a bunch of guys. He is in tank mode. I did clarify with him the rules of the tank, where basically you have to start a legit team, meaning players have to be active and projected for fantasy points. So he took that to heart and cut Quentin Johnston. Could be an interesting guy on the waiver wire. He has been disappointing lately, though, so we'll see. Cut Trey Tucker, who might be interesting. Cut Brock Purdy, good quarterback. Harold Fanning got dropped. Yeah, there's some guys on the wire. He scooped up staples like the Cincinnati defense, Alan Lazard. Hey, Brandon McManus, that feels like disrespect. Tajay Spears. Oh, whoops, wrong. Nope. Max Brosmer, he scooped up for the Vikings. Hey, dude, he's gonna be. I guarantee you, he outscores JJ McCarthy from last week. I guarantee it. Picked Harold Fanning back up, I guess. Okay. I know he cut Harold Fanning, didn't he?
He picked him up today. And
Oh,
then
he picked him up and then cut him for Dontavian Wicks, of course. Why wouldn't you? Yeah, so Brandon's been making moves. Other than that, nothing else really going on. We can hit the previews quick. I have Nick this week. I'm expecting a loss, which is why last week's win was so big. Hopefully I don't lose. I feel like Emeka Egbuka's projection is probably a little generous here, given his recent track record. He's playing Arizona, though, so you never know. Josh Allen, you would expect to bounce back. You would also expect to bounce back from Lamar. So I would take A.J. Brown to outscore Emeka Egbuka personally this week. Olave has been a monster, but nobody's outscoring George Pickens. McCaffrey over Henderson for sure. Chase Brown and Bucky Irving, I'm going to call a wash. Bucky Irving coming back from injury for the first week. Don't really know what to expect. Good matchup, though. Might get worked in. Who knows? Chase Brown has been electric lately, but we are going to see Joe Burrow for the first time. We'll see how that affects Chase Brown's fantasy production. With Joe Burrow week 1 against the Browns, who at the time and still currently were very, very good defense, had a pretty solid week. So I'm not super worried, but always possible to see a little shakeup there. Tyler Warren, tough matchup. George Kittle, also a tougher matchup, but I'd take George Kittle over him. Yeah. Oh, man. I'm going to take myself to win, but if you were smart, you wouldn't.
I don't know. This feels like a toss-up. I mean, because like it's just going to come down to Egbuka and A.J. Brown, whoever gets their 25 points this week. I'm leaning Nick's side here, and you'd think Josh Allen wouldn't do the same thing as last week.
Respect.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Nick in this one.
Don't blame you. On the bench, I don't plan on making any changes. Unless obviously Olave doesn't play, then I'll probably slot Pittman in. And you would expect Nick to not do much. Yeah. His lineup is set. All right, next. We've got Cade and George. This should be a blowout if you're Cade. I believe Drake London was announced as not going to play this week. So he's listed as doubtful. George can take him out of his lineup. He's going to have, I guess, Jacoby Myers. Oh, no, he could put, if he wanted to, he could put Khalil Shakir up there and play Charbonnet. I don't know if I'd play, or Pollard. Yeah, doesn't matter. All those guys are the same tier. Yeah, I mean, Georgia loses this one. Do we have to say any more?
Other than you got to play Stafford, probably. I hope for the best.
Yeah, probably. Horse apiece. I'm okay with Drake May, but if it were me, I would play Stafford as well. Drake May is a good matchup, so I wouldn't blame him. But yeah, you could play Shador, baby. Get him in there. Announce the starter for the time being till he proves that he's not worthy, I guess. If
I've got Cade.
Oh yeah. Wow. Daring today, aren't we? And Greg versus Lane. Marquee matchup. Here we go, baby. Marquee matchup. Lane and Greg. This is a huge one. Lane fighting for his life here. And if he wins, Greg is starting to sweat. Because he could miss out on the playoffs if Lane or Jake Jorgensen win too. So, and he plays you next week, Jake. So, a Greg win here would basically eliminate you guys because Lemons plays Brandon next week, which is a scheduled win. So,
let's just say I didn't see how bad Brandon's lineup is about to be.
Yeah, it's bad,
until
dude.
Right now.
It's like record-breakingly bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he might actually break the record for fewest.
All right,
points
listen.
scored
If
a
I
week he's
cared about
trying.
making the playoffs right now with this team, I'd be a little salty seeing Brandon's lineup, but I don't care that much.
Yeah.
Luckily, because my team sucks.
I would understand, but also, it's the rules of the game.
Yeah.
We allow it as long as players are playing.
I hope it's the biggest blowout
I know,
ever.
and that's why we allow it, because there's always a chance, man.
That would
There's always a
backfire. This
chance.
could really backfire.
Max Brosmer could easily have 25 points. I shouldn't say easily, but he could have 25 points. If he's not J.J. McCarthy and Kevin O'Connell is the quarterback whisperer that everybody says he is, Max Brosmer can have 2 touchdowns and score 20 points and probably run for his life. Tyler Algier could absolutely poach a touchdown or 2. John Fitzpatrick might catch a couple passes. I think he'll beat that projection.
We got to go back to the marquee matchup.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sorry.
I just tried to
You
stop.
distracted me.
Once you just named like 4 guys, I'm like we have to go back to the marquee
Jake.
matchup.
Thank you. We do. All right. Quarterbacks both struggling. I would do everything in my power to not play Daniel Jones this week. Baker is questionable, might play. I would be scouring the waiver wire for somebody if I was Greg Sens. Especially with Brock Purdy out there, dude. I would be dropping like all my fab on Brock Purdy. Yeah, that's not good. Jalen Waddle, you're playing if he's active. A little scary, but he'll be fine. Troy Franklin has been pretty solid lately. Coming off a bye. We'll see if it continues. Sunday night. Jahmyr Gibbs against Green Bay. Tougher matchup. Obviously, never benching Jahmyr Gibbs. ETN, you're rolling with. Bowers in. Tracy in. Yeah, Greg's lineup is pretty set other than quarterback. RJ Harvey could maybe. Nah. I think if anything. Yeah, that's it. Chris Godwin, if he plays, you're benching. Jaden Higgins has been getting touchdowns, but I'd still probably play Troy Franklin. He's been pretty solid. Lane side of the ball, Amon-Ra, Stephon Diggs, both studs this year, at least currently. Obviously, Diggs had the bad week last week, but other than that, he's been very, very good. We've got Jaylen Warren, Kenneth Walker, who has been getting more and more work. Wandale coming off a big week. Man, this is a tough one. I'm going with Lane.
This is a tough one.
Which means that Greg will win, so you should probably pick Greg. Because Greg, as we all know, when I hate on Greg, he wins.
See, I've also done that, my fair share of hating on Greg's team this year.
That's a good point.
And
Deservedly
you look
so.
at. Let me just take a look back at what Gibbs did against Green Bay. I know he had a good fantasy game, but he didn't have. Yeah, because for him, he only had 15.
He only had
for
9
him, that's
carries.
it was a terrible. Like that was a terrible Gibbs
He was
game.
bailed out by PPR. 10 catches.
Yeah, he had. Yeah, that just makes me lean toward Greg's team. It's gonna be so hard to stop Gibbs twice in a row. It's so hard to do that. Now we have to just kind of hope that they played an overtime game and that takes a toll on them after the 3-day break only this week. But
true.
Yeah, I think I like Greg's team here, and I'm kind of trying to jinx Greg's team at the same time.
Understandable. Final answer, Jake, is Greg?
It's Greg.
Alrighty. I can pencil you in for that on the picks.
27, I'm sure that seems right for Amon-Ra, but it does feel like an insanely high
Yeah, it is high,
projection for Yahoo.
Green Bay's been kind of shutting guys down. I feel like it's high. He's only broken that twice this year. I don't know why that's so high. Yeah, I agree. I think that is high. I would put it at like 22. That'd be my projection if I had to put it down there. And even that is higher than most of his games this year. All right. Let's get over to Brandon and Preston. This is a scheduled win for Preston. I would be...
That's crazy.
Yeah, all right. We can go with Preston here. We'll talk a little bit about it, but not much. Preston side of the ball, JT looking for a bounce back. This is essentially a bye week. If Manti loses this, I don't know if I'll ever be able to not meme him about it. Like, it'll be shocking. If you were Preston, Jake, and this was a legit matchup, do you have any consideration for benching Jefferson and putting Breece Hall on the flex, moving Devontae up? With Brosmer playing this week? Okay.
Oh, I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Like you're saying that if Brosmer has a 50-point game, you get. Wait, no. That's not what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
But
that's a
you're
good
just saying
point.
that in general. I thought that's what you were doing at first.
I'm
and then I
ignoring
was
Brandon's
realizing-
team. I'm saying if you're Preston and you're playing against Nick B this week, are you benching Jefferson and putting Brees Hall in there? Because I think I would think about it.
I'm not, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I probably would.
I was thinking you were going with the scenario of like
No.
you're benching a receiver, but you could kind of offset the quarterback.
No,
but of
if
course
you
nobody
play-
was benching Jefferson.
If
Yeah,
you play Jefferson, if Brosmer has a good week, it has to be on the back of Justin Jefferson, right? So the fact that Manti has Justin Jefferson basically eliminates Brosmer. Because if Jefferson has a bad week, you would expect Brosmer to as well, unless Addison has like 4 touchdowns. That's what it would take.
sometimes I wonder how certain players are owned in 1% of leagues. And now that I know Brandon's exists in fantasy football, picking up and starting Fitzpatrick. Now I can't actually make fun of him because his running backs are only slightly, marginally worse than what I start any given week. But yeah, I honestly, genuinely am hoping that this is the biggest blow in history of prime time with this lineup.
Jake,
I just want that to happen.
you might not want to hear this, but if Brandon was playing against you this week, I would be thinking about taking Brandon.
No, you would not.
Dude,
That's insane. You would. No,
I
no,
see the
that's-
path for
that's
him to
crazy.
beat a bad team. Not to beat Preston,
That's insane.
but to beat a Jake Jorgensen team that can't break 100 points, it seems like. Dude, you put up 81. Like, Brandon's team can put up 81, right? I see the path. Brosmer, 2 touchdowns, 240 yards, and 35 rushing yards, right? He has like 25 fantasy points. It's a very good game. Boom, you're almost there already. Alan Lazard stinks. Don't worry about him. Dontavian Wicks probably doesn't get that. You're happy if he gets his projection. Bucky Irving gets worked into the offense, doesn't get a full snap count. Sean Tucker gets 2 goal line carries because they're not playing Bucky on the full snap count. Sean Tucker ends up with 18 points, right? Possible. Not likely, but possible. Tyler Algier poaches Bijan touchdowns like he's been doing all year long. I mean, you could look at Algier's game log. I mean, dude can have 18 points. No problem. Boom. All right. Well, now you're at, what, 40? You're at like 60 points between those 3 players. You're probably not expecting Fitzpatrick to get into the end zone, so he might get a catch for 10 yards, right? Give him 2 points. Kyle Pitts could absolutely have a touchdown or 2. Boom. I mean, he's had double-digit points this year. It happens. Especially with no Drake London going against the Jets. Brandon McManus, I mean, what did he have last week? 12 points? Boom, chalk him up for that again against Detroit. All of a sudden, the Packers lose, and Brandon beats Jake Jorgensen because he just put up 95 points or something. You know what I mean? It's there, Jake. It's there. The path exists.
This has to be the only podcast that an hour before this conversation of my team potentially losing to a 55 projected team, we were talking about my path to the playoffs. This is crazy. This is insane. Nobody has seen slander like this before on this podcast. I'm just sitting here listening.
Boom.
I mean,
Roast.
All right, now the real question, Jake. Brandon's bench versus Press's starting lineup. Who wins?
Preston.
Give me Brandon's bench.
So you basically are saying you would have taken. Well, I guess that's not including Preston's bench. So yeah, you would have taken Brandon over Preston if he started his real lineup.
Yeah, I mean, he does like not have a kicker or defense on the bench, and he gets an extra position player, so it's kind of cheating.
Yeah,
but one of them
That
is
part, yeah.
one of them is DJ Moore, so you can ignore him, right? As a Roma Dunze owner, Jake, I'm sure you agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what Brandon's bench projections are, but I'm sure it's probably pretty close to Manti's. 13 plus 19, 125. Yeah, projected to lose to Manti by 10. If Marv doesn't play, I would, but if Marv plays, then Michael Wilson's probably not going to be that good. All right, I'm taking Preston. You're taking Preston. We probably talked too much about this matchup.
Yes, I'm taking Preston.
The wrong
Well,
one.
we can take less time on the next matchup.
Oh, are you sure about that, Jake? This is a big game for you. I thought about making this the matchup of the week, but then I realized it was your team.
How many votes would I have gotten?
I looked at your running back room, dude, with Bijal Tootin and David Montgomery, and I said, "Yep, Jake loses." So yeah,
I mean, and I've had, I don't know how many quarterbacks I've had this season, but you've had like 6 quarterbacks this year. As of right now, it's Jacoby Brissett going up against Dak Prescott head to head here. Now, we were just talking about high projections.
Jacoby's
Jamar Chase
low, right?
is
Oh.
obviously,
Oh,
yeah.
God,
I think Jamar Chase's projection is super high.
I agree. I mean, Joe
For
Burrow's
Yahoo.
back, so I'm guessing they're giving him a Joe Burrow bump and a Jamar Chase revenge game.
Oh yeah, T Higgins is out now too,
And
right?
T Higgins is
what it
out.
is. Okay.
I'd almost, if I had Jamar Chase on my team and I needed a win, aka if I was Jake Jorgensen, I would have probably been happier with Joe Flacco playing this week because you know what you're going to get. With Joe Burrow back, it could be better, right? It absolutely could be. But if he's not 100%, A, what are the Bengals doing? And B, I mean, Joe Burrow could have a bad game, and then Jamar Chase is not good. You know what I mean? Like, Burrow hasn't played all year. A little scary, but all other signs point to Jamar Chase having a huge week, so you would expect him to. You're firing him up, obviously, unless your name is Greg Sense. Jamar Chase is in your lineup every week. Shout out Greg like 2 years ago. Christian Watson, don't blame me for playing him.
I feel good about Watson starting. Even if my team was a little better,
Yeah.
I think I probably would have started him. Like he's been solid.
Yeah, could be worse, that's for sure. Can't believe you're benching J-Mo against Packers.
He did nothing week 1, and I think that
Different play call.
will happen again.
Jake.
Maybe. I think.
It's possible. Big playability right there. Are you playing the Green Bay defense against Detroit? Or the Philadelphia defense against Chicago?
I'm going to pick up a different defense.
You should play Philly's defense. Black Friday.
I'll think about it.
I would definitely play Philly over Green Bay. I would rather not play either of them. There's absolutely a world, though, where Chicago doesn't put up any points this week because they're really not that good of a team.
Yeah, this is the first test they've had.
Yeah, this is like the first
really
good team they're playing, like all year, question mark?
Pretty much. Yeah, I will say, starting David Montgomery, I know that he doesn't really get as involved as last year, but it feels like against Packers he gets a lot more carries. I don't know if that's true or a fact or not, but it just seems like that's what happens. Dan Campbell, he just sees how intense these games are, these division games, and he's just like, we got to get Montgomery some touches.
If Montgomery, this is definitely a game I think that he could be better than he has been. The Packers' defensive line hasn't been looking that great over the past few weeks. Obviously, the second half of last week was good, but Aaron Jones was averaging a pretty high efficiency against us when he was getting carries. A lot of teams have been able to run on us, especially lately. David Montgomery could get it done. I just think that the Lions aren't going to be able to go away from Gibbs. If the only way Montgomery is a good week, in my opinion, Jake, is if he gets in the end zone, which is super possible. Super possible, right? But you need it. He hasn't done it really all year. He has 5 touchdowns this year. 4 of them coming in the first 5 weeks. Yeah. We'll see. I like him. Actually, I kind of like him against Dallas next week. You would think David Montgomery would thrive, which is why, I guess the game script of the Giants game didn't go well for him. But in a game against a team like the Giants where you expect Detroit to be winning, you would expect Montgomery to be getting a lot of touches, right? Because why play Gibbs, right? Why injure your best or second best offensive weapon, depending on how you view Amon-Ra. So Yeah, I'm gonna be picking Lemons to win this, Jake, because he actually has a good fantasy team, and you're
Oh, okay.
playing, well, like 3 good players. Are you-
That's pretty fair. I was hoping you were going to comment on the fact that I had some of my flex with a prior to Sunday
Well, you have so many
game
Thursday
time,
games, Jake.
but
It's not your
yeah, that's
fault.
I was getting ready to comment on that. Like you're like, oh, Friday the flex, that's strange. Oh, never mind. They're all Thursday games.
No, I know better, Jake.
So
You know that's a
we'll
good
see how
point,
this
though.
game goes.
Should have brought it up
We'll
for
see
the
how this.
league. I know George was
Yeah,
wondering because he definitely watches these.
he definitely takes a look at what time the games start
Oh yeah, for
across
sure.
his team. Um,
Are you
yeah,
picking
but you're
yourself
right
to win
though.
here, Jake?
Yeah, let's do it. I got to win. Got to win this matchup,
All right,
obviously.
baby. That's what I'm talking about.
And we'll see. I honestly don't think I'm going to start Jameson, but you know, gets to Thursday, and then we throw 3 receivers out there on Thursday.
Yeah,
You never know.
I don't know how that game's gonna go.
Try to intimidate Lemons' team.
I feel like there could be a lot of scoring against Detroit. They gave up a bunch of points to the Giants. We might be able to move the ball. Giants had 27, actually. Wow, that's the Packers' number right there. It's fate. Don't go into OT.
It's fate. We almost got 27 again last week.
Yeah, I know.
Should have.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, man. All right, well, that's the matchups. We got one more thing to do. We got to roast some people. Now, Jake, I don't know if you listened to the show last week, but I did modify the roast segments slightly. I'm officially only roasting people that I feel deserve it.
So are you saying that they don't have to have lost the last week? Or
No,
is it,
well, for the most part, it'll just be people that lost, but it might not be everybody that lost.
gotcha.
So,
Okay.
for example, Nick lost. It's hard to roast him because his team is really good, but also I'm going to do it anyways because he scored 107 points. Nick, you would have lost to everybody in this league other than Jake Jorgensen, which basically means you would have lost to everybody in this league. That matters. Suck
Boom. Roasted.
it. Sorry, Jake.
You've done that one. I think it worked out fine, but yeah, you got me there.
Yeah. That was kind of roasting you at the same time, but I'll get yours out of the way real quick because, well, you don't deserve prolonged suffering. Jake, maybe if your players would spend less time spitting on guys and more time playing football, you could have broke 100 points last week.
Boom. Roasted.
Nice. George.
I was going to press the trash button, but I remembered that it's not
It's
me.
Brandon. You can press it anyways. I mean, it's true. Brandon is trash at fantasy. I'm not going to roast Brandon because he should have beaten me in all honesty, and I am lucky to be here. So, yeah. George is the only other one that's going to catch a roast here. Manti maybe deserves it, but I don't know. Roasting Manti is kind of too easy. George.
Boom. Roasted.
That's awesome. There we go. We got it in. Nice. All right, last one. George, my favorite losses of yours are the ones where you could have won, but you didn't start the right players, so you lost. And this was one of those times. I appreciate the laugh, loser.
Boom. Roasted.
The biggest thing to remember is we're dead.
Yeah, I don't think we talked about it, but George absolutely could have won this game by starting Matt Stafford and double tight end, apparently. Maybe not that good of math for me. Yeah. Would have had a double tight end it. Either way, it's funny. Screw you, George. Trading me a bunch of garbage. All right. Well, I think that'll do it for the show. I hope everybody has a fantastic Thanksgiving. Jake, you included, obviously. Are you having
Thank
the
you.
family over at the new place for Thanksgiving, Jake, or are you going over to Jeff's?
I'm not. It's at the grandparents.
Oh, there you go.
Every year. Yeah.
Nice. Well, enjoy. Everybody else out
Thanks.
there,
You as well.
enjoy. I know the Kahlers are having a little shindig tonight, so don't get too rowdy, Brandon. You know, we've got an early morning tomorrow, and I'm sure they're upset that I'm not there, so I just have one thing to say to that. All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll catch you all next week. Oh, good luck to everybody that is not Nick and Lemons. Yeah, you guys both stink. But everybody else, good luck. See ya.